Thank you, Caoirle. Minister, I want to compliment you first of all on the initiatives you have taken to date in the whole area of trying to improve online safety. Practically every casual conversation today ends up talking about social media and the damage it is doing, particularly to children as well. And when a person engages with teachers, they express very serious concerns in relation to the prevalence and the proliferation in the use of social media and the harmful effects as well. We need to address online anonymity as well. And I understand, Minister, that when you established Commission Naman, you asked them to do research into this whole complex area. So I hope you might be able to let us know what is being done to strengthen further the regulatory framework and the rules we have in place at present in regard to this very, very important issue.
Thank you, Deputy. This afternoon, actually, I will be participating in the Online Safety Summit, chaired by An Taoiseach, with other ministers and digital regulators, focused on effective implementation and delivery of online safety for the Irish public. This will build on the significant body of legislation providing the foundations for Ireland's online safety framework, which this government has put in place. Commission Naman is at the heart of that new online safety framework, and it comprises three elements: as the Digital Service Coordinator in Ireland under the EU Digital Service Act, supervising platforms in respect of terrorist content online regulation, and implementing the provisions of the Online Safety and Media Regulation Act, the OSMR. As provided for under the OSMR, An Comisiún will bring a new online safety code into effect for video sharing platforms such as TikTok, Facebook and Instagram. The code will set out what they must do to protect users from certain forms of harmful online content, including incitement to hatred and serious cyberbullying material. As Digital Service Coordinator, An Comisiún works with the European Commission to ensure platforms put in place the systems and processes required to minimise the availability of illegal content like online abuse such as hate speech. This includes content related to existing criminal offences in Ireland like abusive, threatening or offensive communications detailed in the Harassment, Harmful Communications and Related Offences Act 2020. A failure to comply with any of these measures can lead to significant financial sanctions, and under the OSMR, continued non-compliance can actually lead to criminal sanctions for senior management. The DSA also requires platforms to assess and mitigate risks regarding the availability of illegal content online and to prevent their service being manipulated, including to spread disinformation. Platforms have signed the EU Code of Practice on Disinformation, which it is envisaged will become a code of conduct under the DSA. In addition, the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage is engaging with the European Commission on updating legislation to enable An Comisiún Tábhacán address electoral process disinformation. In addition, as recommended by the Future Media Commission, an independently chaired multi-stakeholder working group is developing a national counter-disinformation strategy which will include non-legislative measures, and this will complement the DSA and is expected to be finalised shortly. As can be seen by this afternoon's summit, this issue continues to be a priority for government and regulators, and I will be happy to keep the House informed of ongoing development in this regard.
Thank you, Minister. I thank you for your reply, and I sincerely hope that once again today, Minister, along with other members of the government, you will give a very strong, clear message to the different companies, social media platforms as well, that they have serious obligations to ensure that they address as strongly as possible cyberbullying and also eliminate hate content and harmful content on their platforms. Minister, my understanding is that the Commission Naman is responsible for drafting an online safety code. This code, I believe, is crucial for reducing user exposure to harmful online content. The consultation and the recently published draft online code are to be welcomed. However, that's 18 months after the establishment of the Commission. The code is yet to be finalised. Minister, you might be able to give us an update, or you might check if it's not readily available to you now, when the Commission expect to finalise this code and have it operational.
Well, actually, following the passing of the OSMR bill, you know, we had to set up Commission Demand and fund the operation of it, and that is a very strong. I visited them recently, and it's a very strong working regulator now at the minute with a huge team there. So in May, the update is on Commission published a revised draft online safety code, and at the end of August completed its consultation process with the European Commission. So it's that consultation with the European Commission as well was ongoing. Commission Oman now intends to finalise and adopt the code very shortly. The draft code is a milestone that sets out the actions that the video sharing platforms that I mentioned earlier must take to protect users, in particular young users. For example, it contains obligations around age verification and requirements to operate user-friendly reporting and complaints mechanisms. And many of these obligations stem from the EU's revised Audiovisual Media Service Directive and so apply across the EU. And failures to comply, as I've said, can lead to, with the code, can lead to the imposition of significant financial sanctions of up to €20 million or 10% of the turnover, and continued non-compliance can lead to criminal sanctions for senior managers.
Thank you, Minister. Minister, I understand from people who are much more familiar and have much better knowledge of social media than me, that as part of the online safety code, a ban on recommender system algorithms should be considered. These systems, I understand, collect and analyse sensitive data of social media users. This data is then used to determine what content the social media users see. Recommender system algorithms are spreading misinformation and disinformation, and in some cases inciting hatred and violence, as you referred to, Minister. Due to these systems, harmful content is flooding social media users' feeds, creating echo chambers of disinformation. Minister, it's very worrying and that recommender system algorithms are also spreading harmful material, including that which promotes eating disorders, self-harm or suicide to vulnerable young people. I sincerely hope, Minister, today, and I'm sure you did it already on many occasions, when you have the opportunity at the meeting with the social media platforms to ask them to address those particular issues. It's a blight on society if our regulatory systems continued to allow such behaviour and such use of social media platforms to do so much harm to so many people, and literally not just to individuals, to families, to communities and to society in general. Thank you, Cahirli.
Thank you. And Commission obviously recognises that recommender systems can have those significant harmful impacts on users, and especially children. So on Commission's online safety framework, it will be best able to tackle the potential dangers of recommender systems through implementation of the Digital Services Act. And under this EU regulation, very large online platforms and search engines must complete risk assessments in relation to exposure of children and young people from illegal and harmful online content, including through algorithms or recommender systems, and these services must then address this risk of exposure, including by means of age verification or through adjustment of the design of the recommender systems. The European Commission enforces the DSA in respect of these larger services with the support of an EU network of digital service coordinators, and it has already opened a number of investigations, including into TikTok and Meta, regarding the recommender systems and their impact on children and young people. And Commission is supporting the work of the European Commission here in its investigations as the Digital Service Coordinator in Ireland. But I also think a significant milestone in online safety and how we deal with this, as Deputy Smith mentioned in his original question, is the adoption of those online safety codes. And I would expect Commission Oman to adopt those codes by the end of next month.